Double B
Hi, good evening.
Supermarket,
Good
60
evening.
to
Welcome
62.
to Mike at Night. Thank you very much for joining us. Every week we are on Thursdays around 9 o'clock the same time. Yeah. So we are happy to have you on. We are thankful for the people who are doing the directing in the background to make us be on air when we should be on. All right. So we're going to have a wonderful time this evening because we're going to talk today about the rules in a relationship. You got to share the live. Make sure you get on to somebody and say, listen, you got to listen to this one. Because those who are in relationships, what we do, we enter relationships and we fail to establish rules. When you go to school, there are rules. You're in a country, there are rules. There are rules everywhere. You cannot enter a relationship without setting rules. So we're going to examine some of that and we're going to find out from you because we have a poll question. The poll question is going to ask you, do you have healthy rules in your relationship? Yes or no? Probably if you don't, that's why you have some of the issues that you have. Now, I'm not going to cover all the rules, but certainly I'll cover some. But let's go and pay some bills. We'll be right back. I'm Michael Stewart on Mike at Night. Share the live.
Double B Supermarket, 60 to 62 Government House Road, Scarborough, Tobago. All items reasonably priced, friendly staff. If you don't believe me, you call them 639-5329. If you ask them any question, they'll tell you Jesus is the answer.
Don't let the weather of the day dictate your pace. I stayed cool every time I got into my vehicle, and you can too. At Tow School Center of 31 Gaskin Bay Road, Bonaccord, they specialize in auto air conditioning with parts and services catering to your car's needs. Call and ask for tows at 660-8777 or 788-3535. Tow School Center, where a comfortable ride is a cool ride.
Yes, welcome. Thank you very much to our sponsors. And of course, we know we have Halifax. They are part of our sponsorship. We're always happy to have them. You're going to hear more about them and so what they do. Let me say hello to a couple of people. Elon Gordon, thank you very much for logging in. Patsy Greg, good evening. Glenda Allen, Bernadette Adams, share the live, people. All of you great people, good to have you on. Carolyn Garraway, yep. We're glad to have all of you all on. We're talking about rules tonight. All the rules that you should be having in your relationship. Let me tell you, when we're going to open up the telephone lines, and those of you outside of Trinidad and Tobago, you can WhatsApp us. You can WhatsApp us at 868 is the code, 868-387-7553. You can also call by WhatsApp, so it does not cost you. You can call by WhatsApp. So make sure that you give us a call or a WhatsApp and share in the discussion that we're having this evening. Rules are necessary. Rules are necessary for good order. That's why there are rules that are made. They are not made to be broken. They are made to enhance relationships. So it is also to align the expectations of the people. If you are in a job, you need rules on the job so that you will know what the employer expects, and you will also know what should be expected of you. That's what rules does. And in relationships, rules also contribute towards that. It aligns for you what you can expect from the person or what the person expects of you. What we do, most times, people enter into the relationships, have no rules, and while they're inside of the relationship, get discouraged, disenchanted with the relationship and head back out, only to join the next relationship with still no rules and do the same thing over and over again. Are you one of those who keep going in and out of relationship like a revolving door? It might be because you never sat down to ensure that rules were part of the relationship issue. So we're going to help you with that tonight. So these rules need to be formal. Not every rule need to be informal, and not every rule need to be formal. But there are some things you need to say that you expect or don't expect. Let's call it negotiables and non-negotiables. There are things that you could tell yourself, I could pass on this. He's a fella, he's very late. he's never on time. I don't like it, but I could live with that. But there are some things that you might not want to negotiate, such as abuse, hitting you. You might tell yourself, non-negotiable. But you say some of those things up front. Let it be part of the discussion so that somebody would know. I always share that while I was courting, my wife did tell me, was my girlfriend then, and she said, anytime a man hit her, it will be once. Okay? Now, what was she trying to say? There's no second chance at all. Therefore, it is clear that you can't go and say sorry after that. What are the rules that you are setting in this relationship? The negotiables and non-negotiables. All right, so let's go. And I hope that you all are taking note. Good evening, Karen Anthony. Yeah. So let's start with rule number 1. You know, in relationships, I think it is important for us to recognize that we should make an agreement. And these rules isn't something that you need to necessarily write down in a formal meeting as though it is an office, but it must be something that is clear between you all. And one of the things that I want to recommend is this, that you would never hurt each other willfully. Because you will hurt each other, but you will never willfully hurt each other. You know, sometimes you look at some relationships and you could tell some of the people in the relationship willfully doing what they're doing because they got vexed about something. They would want to show you how hurt they are by hurting you, and then somebody is going to hurt back the next person. Well, I've known of people, and I'm sure that you would have heard of so many situations where people actually get into a relationship and take pictures of their affair to send to their partner to show you could do it, I could do it too. Well, I don't know if that is going to be something that is going to enhance a relationship. The person may get jealous and come back to you, yes, but what quality of relationship are you going back into? That relationship is going to be a boisterous, turbulent relationship. So don't, and I think that we should agree that anytime I hurt you, be well assured it's not willful. Yeah? And you see, because when you are hurt, you know for sure that, yes, I'm hurt, but the person did not set out to do that. Okay? So that's number 1. Never hurt somebody willfully in any type of the relationship. Number 2, don't make threats. Don't threaten the relationship. Don't threaten the person. Don't make threats about what you will do and what you will not do, and how you will do them, and you will hit them, you'll put them out, I will leave you, I'm going to divorce you, etc. You know, there are some people living relationships and it is replete with threats. It's as though threats become part of the language of the couple. It's as though the relationship is actually built on threats. And the person, it is to intimidate the other person, not to mess with you or not to do something so that they would conform. But if the person is really conforming, are they really happy in the relationship? Who wants to live in an environment, in a relationship where there's constant threat? Because when you have to make a threat, the pain is going to run deep and run deep for long. Long after you have repented and said sorry that you said what you said and so on, that does not mean that the person has moved forward. The pain may be lasting in them for quite a while. Yeah? So I want us to when you get into a relationship, make the agreement. Let's not threaten each other. Don't come and tell me every Monday morning that you're going and pack up your things and go home. No. I feel that if you're going to do that, make sure that when you say so, you actually pack up and go home. Stop threatening it, and you're not leaving. And then you threaten, you leave, and you come back. Because every time you come back, the person is going to feel the next threat is not serious. And they would actually do things to call your bluff. Are you all with me? Stop threatening in relationships, especially Now that you see what is going on, you know that we have a school in Tobago where it is reported that a student threatened to do certain things with gun at the school. I don't want to go too much into it. Nobody sits comfortably when they are being threatened. So therefore, let's avoid the threats and so on. When you are angry, hold your tongue. Hold your tongue. You don't have to say anything. And if you are a person who do that kind of threat, you need to stop it. Joycelyn Green, good evening to you. Nice having you. Lyndon Jofield, good evening. Beatrice and Paul, thank you all for joining. Yep, make sure you call somebody and tell them, join us tonight. Join the live. We're hot tonight. We're telling you the things that you should have known before. Some of you have done it, and thank God that some of you would have done those things and have been able to set yourselves in good stead. Okay, so 2 we give. Let me see if I could give a third one. Don't compare your partner to your ex or to your in-law, your mother. Don't, if your man don't harass her that she's not like your mother. Don't compare and say, listen, I should have stayed with the last man I was with. I shouldn't have leave him because he would have never do this, he would have never do that. It makes no sense. That is gone and has moved on. Stop comparing your relationship now with a relationship that never was. Yeah? Even if it is bad, don't even compare and say, you so good and my last person was bad. Why do you need to bring them up? Why do you need to bring it up? Yeah? So that's a tip that I want people to bring. And let's agree and sit down and agree and say, these are the rules. Now, you could have so many rules. One of the rules I know that we have said, and I bring in my own family into it now, is that one of the things that we have as husband and wife for the 30-something years that we're married is this: if we vex, we're not changing bedrooms. Nobody sleeps outside and the next one sleep inside. You don't sleep on the floor and the next one sleep on the bed. You stay in the bed. You could turn your back. You could haul your blanket if you want, but you're not supposed to leave the bed. And I think for 36 years, we have been able to keep that. What that does is it don't allow the relationship and the argument to extend beyond a day, which is a biblical injunction, that let not the sun go down on your wrath. When you separate and you leave and you go by your mother to sleep the night and you do all the other things, well, of course, if it is abuse and violence and so on, one could understand what. Are we talking about normal situation? Stay inside and try and work it out. I see here Lawrence Fleming said morals, values, virtues, principles rather than rules is key in any relationship. Moral values and principles. Yeah. Well, I agree with you, Lawrence, that moral values and principles, how do those morals and values and principles become hallmarks? It has to become a rule. Even the Bible put down the rules: love your neighbor. That's moral. That's ethics. But God made it as a law, as a rule in the Old Testament, and He repeated it again in the Testament. They said that by this shall all men know that you are my disciples. What is it? Your rule is love. Yeah, but I understand what you are saying. But in a world where we don't have morality as and virtues as a standard, otherwise we have to come to an agreement. Yeah. All right. So let me hear from you all. Share the live, people. I want to hear from you all. I want to see you all on the chat. Call somebody and tell them to join us. Good night. Good evening. Indar Day, Paris. Good evening to you. Yeah. Now, some people say that they would write me while the program is going on, and I don't acknowledge it. Really, because sometimes I don't see it because you have to sift through all that is there. All right. So let me see if you all could rehearse for me, those who have been taking notes and those who have been listening. What are the 3 rules so far that we have? I want you to post it on the Facebook page and let's see if we could get it. We are live on Label TV Network and live on Michael Stewart's Facebook. So you could get us anywhere there. If you also, you can get us on YouTube, Label TV Network, LABL. That's how you spell label. LABL TV Network. All right. So that's 3. 4. Stop keeping score of mistakes. These are biggie. Keeping score of mistakes means that every time you get vexed, you bring up some mistake that the person did some time ago. It's dangerous. It is. I have never met somebody or a relationship that flourished when people say, you know, I love my partner so much. Every time we get vexed, they always remember something that I did wrong, and I'm so happy with them. They've never said so. It frustrates them. It also frustrates the person who has to repeat it, because you are living in pain, you are living in mistakes. It is better you resolve the mistake, apologize accordingly or what have you, and move on. Don't be bringing up things from the past. It is toxic. It makes the other person feel as though they cannot get over what they did wrong. If they are repeating the wrong, that is different. But if they are not repeating the wrong, why bring it up again? Especially if an apology has been made and there is no repeat of it. The reason why we don't have relationships working properly is because one of the issues is that we keep resurrecting past. Things that are past. We remind people of the time that they were unfaithful. We remind them about the time that they hurt you with something they said or they did, etc. It's not going to help. I sympathize with you with the pain. I sympathize with you with the stress that you're going through, because nobody could know the pain that you're going through as you. But I want to assure you, raising it over and over is not in your own interest. All right. So, don't threaten each other and don't compare. That's Orville Melville. Thank you very much. Good evening. Never hurt each other. That's also another one. That's right. And no abuse. Trisha Isabel. That wasn't one of the rules. All right, but we're going to take that. One would think that that is a definite no-no, because I know of nobody who says, I'm going to take that. Right? But thank you very much for that. Joel Short says, so true. I'm not too sure which one of the statements that he's saying so true about, but okay, thanks. Alice John, don't hurt willfully, don't threaten, and don't compare. Alice, should take you as secretary, man. You're doing good. Is it number 4? Okay. 1, 2, let me take it from Alice. 1, 2, 3. So this is number 4. All right. All right. So that one was stop keeping score. Oh, she didn't put in stop keeping score. So this is number 5. The generalization. The generalization is when we use these broad terms. You never take me anywhere. You really mean that? In the 20 years you're married, in the 7 years you're married, the person never take you anywhere? Well, you know what I mean. No. When you say so, you are ignoring the fact that they have done it. You need to say, I wish we would go out more often. That's a different phrase. It has a different impact than saying, you never take me anywhere. You just never listen to me. Oh, then how did I hear you say that I never listened to you if I did not listen to you? I just heard you say so. So those generalizations, let's get out of them. Let's move away from them and say what we want. Things are not all bad. Yeah? So when you ask somebody, so how's your husband doing? He did. So what is good about him? Nothing good about him. Nothing good about her. No, it could never be. So get away from the generalization, because what that does is tell the other person, regardless of how hard you try, you are starting off at zero. Because there's nothing good about you. You never listen. You never take me anywhere. I am starting off at zero. Here's my advice. Start off your partner at 100%. Start off as though they are good, perfect person. And let their transgressions minus from there. It's hard having to prove to people how good you are. You end up having to boast. You end up having to do things for show because you started off at zero. Start them off at 100. Let them start you off at 100. And the person can remain at that 100 just by not transgressing, just by not doing something wrong. And if they do, give leeway for error. Yeah? There is, if you're doing a survey, they always leave space for errors. Margin of error when you're doing statistics for election. They leave a margin of error. Leave a margin of error for your spouse. They are not perfect. What is that margin of error you're going to allow? So that when they have done something, tell us, well, if the person end up with 80% of what I'm looking for, 20% of a fault, are good to go. Good to go. Here, I want to give you, again, I'm going back into our own situation with my wife. We caught it for 4 years. And we wrote down the faults of each other. She wrote down all my faults, which was quite a handsome number. And I wrote down her faults. Every year, for those 4 years, we will review it on the anniversary of our so-called anniversary. And we'll look to see whether the list she has for my faults, whether they are pure, whether I've worked on them, and the list whether she has worked on them. The agreement was we will never get married until that comes within a reasonable, manageable, livable number. Yeah? So we had some work to do. In fact, at one point we were coming close up to when we were supposed to get married, and we said, well, yeah, some of these things still left back, we might not be able to live with. So let us look at this again. And we were able to deal with them. Because and I think that is important in relationships. Make sure the remaining faults that the person has, even if they do not change, you can live with it. Oh, but some people just get into a relationship. They have not sat down, discussed anything. They have assumed that the person is going to be, that first time you meet somebody, that facade and that first impression, we call it the iceberg. Iceberg is you see 15% of a person when you meet them, 85% is underwater. That's why we call it the iceberg. You don't see that. As you get into the relationship, you realize you hit an iceberg because you never knew they had all of those issues in their lives. But we tend to get into relationship with understanding only 15% of the person. Yeah? Not recognizing the rest is coming up. Okay, let me just go to the Facebook again. Let me see. And by the way, let me just remind you, 387-868, area code 868-387-7553. You can WhatsApp any question you have, and you will be more than happy. By the way, we do provide private counseling and relationship counseling. And you can always call, not this number, because this number only operates for this program. But the number you call for that is 868, or you WhatsApp 868-480-0080 for private counseling. All right. Another famous one, you're never at home. Oh yes, that's a nice generalization there, Lyndon. Where your spouse tell you you're never home. Well, you know that again, that is not a true statement. Why use it? Why let it look as though it is an insurmountable issue? Say you'd like to see them home more often. That says something. Here's what that says. I love being around you and I want more of you. You're never home means that I don't ever see you at all. And it looks as though if therefore all the time that person has been home, that you still consider that they are never home, how much more must they stay home in order to at least show up as though they are beginning to be home? You understand how Herculean a task that is? Trisha, you have me laughing. I'm guilty of the you never take me anywhere. I need to tell my boyfriend to exit the chat. Yeah. You never give me no money. Yeah, never give me no money. But you got money 1 week ago when you said you wanted to go and do your hair. Where you get it from? I give you it. But you're telling me now that you never get any money. Yeah, people. How do you deal with a spouse that is a narcissist? Well, we're talking about rules tonight, you know. That's a nice question, but we're talking about the rules tonight. But let me just deal with Joy quickly there. If a spouse is a narcissist, well, we have to figure out how we came to the point that the person is a narcissist. Usually we come to these conclusions just because the person likes themselves or the person does things for themselves. A narcissist is really an exaggerated appreciation, love of self, and only considering self and so on. It's not just the fact that they are a bit selfish. Somebody could be selfish and not be a narcissist. So I'm not too sure whether it is appropriately used because I don't have the details of it. But certainly, if you're dealing with a narcissist, that is going to be a definite difficulty to deal with somebody, because regardless of what you say, you will be wrong, they will be right. Regardless of how much you try to do nice for them, they'll want more for them, because that's all the narcissist thinks about. Them getting praise, they must always be recognized, they must always be at the center, etc. So in the absence of any further information, Joy, I would suggest give us a call and let's have a private session and sit down. Okay. And let me say that we charge reasonably for our sessions. All right. So let's go now. Oh, let's go and take a break. Let's pay some bills and then we come back. In the meanwhile, just write down for those who joined late. Write down for us all of the ones that we did so far, the rules that we should be making. We coming back with some interesting rules when we come back. And by the way, you'll see the poll that is going up. Also, start answering the poll.
Double B Supermarket, 60 to 62 Government House Road, Scarborough, Tobago. All items reasonably priced, friendly staff. If you don't believe me, you call them 639-5329. If you ask them any question, they'll tell you. Jesus is the answer.
Don't let the weather of the day dictate your pace. I stayed cool every time I got into my vehicle, and you can too. At Tow School Center of 31 Gaskin Bay Road, Bonaccord, they specialize in auto air conditioning with parts and services catering to your car's needs. Call and ask for tows at 660-8777 or 788-3535. Tow School Center, where a comfortable ride is a cool ride.
Hello. Thank you very much for staying with us. Thank you for coming back. And if you have just joined us, I'm Michael Stewart. Pleased to meet you. And this is Mike at Night. We are on Thursdays from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. What we do here, we just try to help people in their relationship issues. So mostly it's relationship. We do with things outside of that, yes. Every so often, we had a wonderful lady in last week, Joyce Lynn Green, and she was such an awesome blessing to us. People have been talking about her. And so every so often we would chat with some of those people. Yeah, but we try to help people with relationship. I see Josiane saying that it will be a nice topic to talk about narcissism. Okay, we're going to try and deal with that. It seems as though many people are either married to or in relationship with narcissists. Would you believe sometimes a narcissist is not aware that they are narcissist? And the narcissist may be calling you a narcissist while they are being a narcissist. You yourself may be a narcissist and you don't even know that. Wow, you didn't know that, eh? Okay. So he said, stop the generalization. So let me just see if I could recap quickly for those who just came in and those at the back of the class. Number one, never willfully hurt your partner. You are going to hurt. Every relationship will have some measure of hurt. Where is the maybe? Where the maybe? Josan, you think you're easy? By the way, Josan, I'm coming in tomorrow. Eh? Just letting you know. So get yourself ready. It is going to be licks like peas. Josan wanted one of the buttons said to say maybe concerning the poll. Rule number one, never hurt your partner willfully. Rule number two, never make threats. Don't dare your spouse. Do that see if I ain't. Leave me now, see if you remain single the rest of your life. I'm the only man who would ever be with you. Nobody ever want you. Yep. All right, so let me see what this person is saying. The advantage of the WhatsApp also is because I don't know who it is that messaging in many other cases. Eh? Good night, Mike. Those statements are part of the whole. It's like saying, believe on the Lord and you will be saved. Oh, so it is not completely finished. It has other things in it. And I think that the person is referring to the generalization, I suspect, that they are referring to. Yeah. Okay. Never willfully hurt the person. Do not make threats. Don't dare them. Why do that? Yeah, because your partner would never feel safe. I will take the children and leave. Yeah. Don't do that. Number three, don't compare your partner to your ex, nor to your mother. Your mother cooks one way. Don't expect your wife to cook the same way. She cooks that way. She keeps her house looking this way. Your spouse does it a different way. Your father used to do this. Don't compare your father to this gentleman that you are with. Otherwise, just go live. Why did you leave your father's house in the first place? You understand me? Accept people for who they are. And if you don't want to accept the person for who they are, do not get into an intimate relationship with them. Keep them as friends and acquaintances where you don't have to now deal with them on a permanent basis. Number four, don't keep score of the things that are wrong. No need to remind somebody of everything that they've done wrong and what they've done wrong. And every time you get vexed, you raise it again. Go and meet your woman. Yeah, you all know some of you all say that. Go and meet a woman. That issue was years ago. And you're still raising it and talking about that. Yeah? And the man throwing the things in the woman's face about things that she has done and said. Yeah? Don't do that. Number five, stop the generalization. You never, I never get a red cent. You never give me nothing for my birthday. You never give me do nothing for the anniversary. And for years we were celebrating anniversary. Over the last 3 years during COVID, we do nothing. But you now see, never. All right. Number 6 is it? I had said 7 that I will give. I think I'll give 1 or 2 extras tonight once we have time. Yeah. Okay. 6. Don't behave childish. Childish is when we do things that adults really should bring under control, but which children do because they are out of control. Breaking things. Why you want to grab your spouse's cell phone, throw it on the wall and mash it up? Huh? And then when you all make back, you have to go and buy it back to give them? That makes sense? Just control the anger. That's childish. When you have to now throw children, when they are hurt, they ball down the place more than they should ball down the place so that mommy will hear from inside. You and your brother fighting, eh? You and your brother have a little tussle. Or they have a little tussle in the bedroom or outside in the yard and so on. But this child wants mommy and daddy to come running and would cry in this kind of incessant way to attract the attention of those inside. And scream down the place. And then somebody come running. There are some people behave very childish. They get on Facebook and they ball down the place. They talk their private business to half of the world who don't care about you and your issues, who don't even plan to support you in your issue. But they will join in their mouth in your matter and give you advice on Facebook that destroys your own relationship because you taking basket. No. You understand? That's childishness because you're trying to get attention to an issue. Because I see people post some things on Facebook. Eh? I don't know who they are. I don't know who they're talking about. The information, there's no facts in the information. There's nothing more than they just start to use these covered words. Yeah? No, man. That's childishness. So, screaming down the place and breaking things, those are the things that we're talking about. Stamping. Yeah. And here's one of the childishness. Like my grandson. When he's upset, he gives this silent treatment. He will pull aside. You want something to eat? You're ready to go and sleep? Big people behaving like that. You live in the same house with the person, you're passing them straight. They talk to you, you give them these short burst answers. You really think the relationship will improve with them? I talking to you all out there. So who else all they think I'm talking to? I'm speaking to you, sir, who have been ignoring the woman that is supposed to be. You're not calling her. You're not connecting with her. You block her. All of that. But you're still in the relationship, because you're still making demands. If she goes out with somebody else, you want to know who she goes out with, but you block her. You understand me? Childishness. You see, I only need to share the live. Share the live. Joan, Alexandria Hospital, Virginia. Hey, you're in work, Joan. Yeah. All right. Good to have you on. Yeah. The silent treatment. When the woman goes silent on the man and not talking to him. But the pots making a lot of noise in the kitchen when you see she washing dishes. She just pushing them and just making the place. She's sweeping and she knocking the broom against the walls, etc. Yeah, vexed, but silent. Hello from Canada. Nice. Hey, thank you all for saying where you all are from. Shamalita Reed. Hey, nice name. Shamalita. I hope I pronounced it right. Right. So, that's right. So stop behaving childish. Grown people. Grown people would address issues. We'll talk it out. Let's talk about this. And that's a rule that you should make as far as the communication is concerned. Yeah. I'm going to ask people to start putting their rules that they think that I have left out, that they would like to see in a relationship. Yeah. So write it on the chat and I'll call it out for you, or message me on 868. My goodness. Message me on 868 387 7553. Oh, yes. Canada is in the house. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Canada. Yeah, and we usually have Canada on, and I'm always happy to have them with us in the house. All right. Let me see if I could retrieve. Sorry about that. When you don't have a big studio. That's what you end up with, my boys. Okay. Just remember the poll is up. Let's make sure that you answer the poll. All right. So that one was, as we said, put what you think is a rule that you should be dealing with. What rules of relationship you're dealing with? Okay. Shamalita is saying, how do you deal with a selfish partner? How do you deal with a selfish partner? Ah, boy, that's a biggie. How do you deal with a selfish partner? I'm going to ask somebody to answer that. Let me see if we can get somebody in the audience and answer that. How do you deal with a selfish partner? And that, I think that is coming back to the same idea of narcissism. So it seems as though that might be a topic that we might have to address in true, because like it's so many people that we have that we consider narcissists. Right. I'm not seeing people posting what they think is the rule that we should have. Never go to bed mad. That's a nice rule. Don't leave the house vexed. That's a second good rule. One never know if one would wake up or return home alive. I think that's nice. Don't leave home vexed. And don't go to bed mad with each other. Solve it. If you value the relationship, work on solving them. I agree. All right. So number 7. And this one, I want you all to listen to this one. This is one of the biggies. Never use confidential information that your spouse gave you against them. Never use confidential information that your spouse gave you and use it against them. The person told you they were raped. Do you need to now expose that to others because you and the person vex? The person told you of something they did wrong in a previous relationship. Do you need to bring that up now that you are vexed? The person told you some things of their family of origin, problem they had with their father, problem they had with their mother, issues that they had. And now you raising it with the very family, the information that they gave you. That speaks volumes to that part that Lawrence talked about, values, virtues, morals. Anytime you can give somebody something private and they use it back against you, that's a character flaw. Even if you and the person break up and you are no longer in a relationship, it's supposed to remain a secret between you all. Full stop. Respect the fact that you all had a relationship and that was part of the agreement. You were there, they divulged information, they confided in you as you were the confidant. Honor that. Yeah. Yep. All right. So Trisha said number 7 is a real big topic in true. Yep. That's right. Okay. I'm just going through the post. My word is for clothing and so use the words or I'm not too sure what Lenora is saying. Shamita said we should be honest with each other and straightforward. Let me just say something, Shamalita. Let me say something, and I agree with you that we should be honest. But here's what. Inside of honesty, that we are asking people to be honest. We usually ask our spouse to be honest. But can we take the honesty? If they really come clean, between me and you, if they really come clean, can you handle the honesty that they came with and lay the facts on the table? What would be your reaction? I find that a lot of people are asking for honesty, but technically they cannot handle it. John says, we learn from our mistakes after a breakup. The partner don't really care if they hurt your feeling or not. Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Yeah, so we're saying also, I agree. Encourage somebody to be honest, but make the space safe for the person to be honest. And let me tell you, you ever as a child come home, you got into trouble. Let's say you had a fight in school or you stole something, stole somebody's lunch or mango, whatever it is, and your parents tell you, tell me the truth. I want you to tell me the truth. Come clean with me. And I would not, or that sometimes they actually promise you, I would not get vexed, I wouldn't beat you. I just want the truth. Want you to tell me the truth, I go. And when you really tell them the truth, that you started the fight, they get so vexed and they whip you. The child learns from them. Honesty is not a good policy. Because we taught them that. Because at the time that they are coming to be honest, we didn't handle it right. I'm not saying that if the person comes honest, you should not still have the impact of the truth. I'm not saying also that the child should not be punished having come with the truth. But sometimes our behavior tells the child, don't come with the truth because the truth is not going to going to save you at all. Even in court, if you plead guilty to something, they reduce the charge. They'll still charge you or punish you, but they will take into consideration that you pleaded guilty. Even in the relationship, respect the fact that somebody said, this is what took place. You don't have to now just take it wholesale and swallow that, but control your reaction to it and the way how you deal with it. Still be vexed, yes. You can afford to still be vexed. You could afford to still be hurt. You could afford to still tell them, I have a little problem in trusting you. But you can do all of that without breaking the spirit of the person to make them not bring truth to you again. Sometimes, a spouse wants to come clean, but because of the mayhem and the ruckus that they anticipate, they remain silent. They deny, defend, and they keep the truth back from us because of the way how some people behave. All right, so let me see now. What are we saying here now? Glenda Allen, never leave the house angry because you never know if you would see that person again. Thank you, Glenda. Jose and Rule, we should do things for us. We helping us and not for you or me or I helping you. All right. So Josanne, I think what Josanne is saying, make a rule. When you're making a decision, consider both of us in the decision and not just yourself. When you're going and order something to eat, consider that I don't eat meat. Consider that. So make a decision to order meat and fish. But when you just order meat alone and say, take the meat out and you can eat the rest. No, you didn't take me into consideration. You really serious? Yeah. So I agree with Josanne there. Shamalita says, yes, we focus on the behavior rather than the unsolved problems. Okay. Joan said, you cannot tell everything. There are things your present relationship should not be told. We are human. Whoa! Joan, you looking for big fight on this program. Joan, you really say that, girl? That there are things that your relationship should not be told in your relationship? Huh? You cannot tell everything? I want a quick response to Joan. A quick response to Joan there. Do you all think that there are some things that you should leave secret in a relationship? Do you all think so? Tell me. Quick. The time is running out. Quick. Are there some things that you should remain secret in a relationship? Elon says he agreed. Joel said, say the truth, but not all the truths are to be told. That's okay. All right, Joel. Joan. Shavalita says, yes, not every truth should be told. Eva says she agree with that. All right, well, I'm very surprised the number of people who agreed with Joan, because I hear people say, if you're in a relationship, nothing should be secret. Everything should be out in the open. I support Joan, actually, with that. And usually I get such a surprise reaction from people. Josiane says, talks about the truth. Linda say facts. Gabriel said she disagree. Oh my goodness. All right, Gabriel, I would love to hear your reason. And I respect your view on it. I would love to hear your reason for disagreeing and say that why we should say everything. And sometimes, there are things that happen prior to a marriage and prior to a relationship that there's no need to raise it in this relationship, because it has nothing to do with the current relationship and it has nothing to do with an impact that it is going to have on the relationship. It would have been probably a mistake that a person made years ago. And do you really need to raise it just because you want to get this catharsis? You want to just get this thing out in the open and be this pure, open person? Do you really need to? Some truth cannot be accepted, says Cecile. I really don't leave big truths out. I feel sometimes I can't talk everything, the only important things. All right. Yes, my good Gabriel, I'm really listening to hear you. Here's what. If it is something that impacts on the relationship itself, let's say the person has an STD. This is years ago. And but it is going to impact on this person. Allow the person to know. Yeah? Allow the person to make a decision whether they will want to get into the relationship with you, knowing that you have had an STD. That I think you need to say. Yeah? But issues about, sometimes we want to dig up who you had sex with for the first in your life. You had sex when you were 16 years old. You are now 40 something and going to yard foul age. And you are now still asking somebody to tell you that. And then when you find out who the person is, you know the person and you vex. Nah, man. I don't think some of those things should really necessarily come up. If, probably, let's see if we could stretch it a bit now and make it controversial. What time is it, by the way, people? Others get me. Woo! Mercy. Oh, Daddy. All right. Yeah, people, don't forget the poll. Yeah. If somebody has been unfaithful and they come clean and say that they have been unfaithful during the time that they're in the relationship with you. Only give me a quick feedback, please. We're running out of time. But tell me, should you say every act where you were touched, where the person touched you, where you touched the person, whether the person kissed you, what the person did, where they did it, whether you enjoyed it or not, should you get into those kind of details in the discussion or not? Talk to me, people. Yeah? All help me. Yeah? And let me just give, so that was number 7. Don't give personal confidential information. Lyndon say, forget about time. The discussion very uplifting. Lenora said, too much information. Yeah? Why would I want to know that? Just to torment myself. No thanks. Orville said no. Elon said no. But there are some people insist on getting some of those information. If we get into details, it will be considered that we enjoyed it. Right. Yeah, because some people, you see how you remember it? It's because you enjoyed it. But I assume, I appreciate what Josanne said. It really creates a torment to go into all those details. I think that you need to confess, yes, and say the transgression you did, and clear the air. But I don't think the details does anybody any good. That's my personal view. Yeah. So I agree also with Joel when he says it's going to give an impression that may not necessarily be true. And by the way, we're talking about truth. Let's say the person really was unfaithful and the person really did enjoy it. You really want them to tell you that? You could handle that? Because the chances are they would have enjoyed it. But some people lie and say, it was just a fling, I didn't really enjoy it and so on. But yes, they enjoyed it. It was nice. But can you handle that? And you're asking for truth. All right. Let me give you number 8 and number 9, and we call that quits for the night. Number 8. If you are getting into a relationship and the person has children that are not yours, and you have children that not the other person own, shouldn't you all sit down and talk about discipline issues so that you don't have where one going to discipline the other one and say, left me child alone, and the child going to the other one and say, you're not my daddy, you can't hit me, don't hit me? Shouldn't you all sit down and discuss and make some rules and that? I think so. Joan said, I don't waste words. Let's talk about us. If you have more experience than your partner, you should do better in this relationship by fixing from your past. Okay, there you go. All right. So, we should discipline. We should make sure that we talk about this disciplinary thing so that somebody doesn't think that you have beat my child more than your child. And you take advantage of my child probably because you don't like my child, because the child is not yours. Let's sit down and work that out. And I'll give you one more. If you're living by your in-laws, shouldn't you have rules? If you have your own home, husband and wife, and you are by your in-laws, you're in an apartment, you're in a part of the house, and so on, you might be sharing some communal areas such as kitchen, toilet, etc. But shouldn't you have some rules as boundaries as to what the in-laws have to say in your house? Well, when I say in your house, you know what I mean. In your family. Not just because you're living home by them, that they should have a say in everything that you're doing. But should you now not put up those boundaries so that the husband could say to his mother, listen, leave my wife curtain as it is. That's the curtain she likes. You think it is worn, you think it needs to change, but allow us to make that decision. Should we now be setting some boundaries for the in-laws? And should we not allow the in-laws and the relationship to operate in a way that we know the parameters that we're going to operate with? Yeah, some children cause problems because they wanted their parents to be together. True, absolutely. Annie says, yes, it is important to set rules and boundaries. All right, people. I enjoyed it tonight. You see? You all log on early next Tuesday. I should be broadcasting from somewhere else on Thursday. We're going to have to do the test. But log on early now, people, so that we could be able to have you all on. I hope you all learned something. And we try as much as possible on Mike at night to help you to live a better life, just like the Bible says, and to live a better relationship in your life. My name is Michael Stewart. I want to thank Sid Jones for being here with us. Let's talk about the poll now. Poll, let's hear it. I'm not seeing the poll. What's the result? Have you set healthy relations? You take it off fast, man. Have you set healthy rules for your relationship? 58% of people said yes. That's close to half back. That's still not comfortable. We need to get it up. We need to get it up. Yes, 58% of people said yes. 42% of people said no, they have not set healthy boundaries. Yeah. All right. Thank you all very much for coming on. If you want private, confidential counseling, feel free to call 868-480-0080. Ask for Mike at Nite, and he'll be happy to talk with you. Yeah, let's get the relationships working good. God bless you. See you all next Thursday, God willing, 9 o'clock. Bye now.
Double B Supermarket, 60 to 62 Government House Road, Scarborough, Tobago. All items reasonably priced, friendly staff. If you don't believe me, you call them 639-5329. If you ask them any question, they'll tell you. Jesus is the answer.
Don't let the weather of the day dictate your pace. I stayed cool every time I got into my vehicle, and you can too. At Tow School Center of 31 Gaskin Bay Road, Bonaccord, they specialize in auto air conditioning with parts and services catering to your car's needs. Call and ask for tows at 660-8777 or 788-3535. Tow School Center, where a comfortable ride is a cool ride.